So, this delivery girl is getting ready to head out of the supermarket, right? Normal day, nothing out of the ordinary. Out of nowhere, this woman bursts in with a gun. Straight up, she starts firing shots near the entrance. Turns out, she's on a mission to find out who's been messing around with her husband. She's screaming, "All you men, get out here. Women, stay put." Then she herds everyone into one spot and yells, "Anyone sleeping with my husband better step forward." And get this, her husband is the freaking manager of the supermarket. The manager is standing there, totally bewildered. He can't believe his wife is causing this whole scene. He tries to play it cool, telling everyone she's delusional and overly jealous. He even points out her mismatched slippers, like that's relevant. But the wife ain't having it. She saw him, clear as day, leaving a motel with another woman. She witnessed the betrayal with her own eyes. Hearing that, one customer loses it and throws a whole pumpkin, right at the manager's face. Things are escalating fast. Another customer, seeing the wife's pain, volunteers to help her find the other woman. Meanwhile, outside, the cops are closing in, trying to figure out how to handle this hostage situation inside the chaotic supermarket. The wife starts grilling everyone, asking about a time when she saw the two of them go into the employee-only area. She's convinced the woman he's been seeing is a female employee at the store. The interrogation begins. There are 3 prime suspects. One who got married just 2 weeks ago, a self-proclaimed single lady, and another who's engaged. But just then, the manager jumps in front of his wife, trying to protect his dirty little secret. He starts talking about their son, trying to appeal to her emotions. But here's the kicker. Just 5 days ago, he took their son out, then ditched him to go on a date with his mistress. The poor kid wandered around looking for his dad. Then the mom got a call. Her son was seriously injured. In the hospital, the son kept saying his dad had abandoned him. Everyone in the supermarket is stunned. They can't believe what a scumbag this guy is. They start cursing him out, saying he's lower than dirt. The entire crowd turns against him and starts yelling at him. They are ready to rumble. Suddenly, more shots ring out. The wife wants to end this whole affair with her own hands. Then, a person shouts that they saw the single girl sneakily give the manager a bottle of soda. It must be her, but she starts to explain that her work performance is being re-evaluated next week. She did it just to save her job. 2 of her coworkers, knowing that she is playing dirty, begin to argue with her. The woman can't contain herself and is about to fire off some bullets when a customer stops her and points the finger at someone specific. The customer points at the engaged woman and says that it is her. The lady denied it immediately. She wants evidence. When the woman aims the gun at the mistress, the manager leaps up to protect her. The customer browses social media. Turns out they went out on Christmas together. The customer pulled the image and saw his reflection in the spoon. However, the manager still denied it. Outside, the police are closing in and are ready to make their move. However, they were nervous about the guns. The customer was once a police officer. She texts her husband outside and urges him not to enter until it is safe. She then pushes the refrigerator to block the entrance. Then the customer begins to smell the scent in the air. She smelled both of their hairs, and the scents were the same. The scent came from the shampoo at the motel. The delivery man smelled the air and realized what it was. Not only that, he sees the same black car parking there all the time. He reads the license plate, and it is the manager's car. They also used an app to buy and sell used items to communicate with each other. He is caught red-handed. He kneels down and pleads for his life. The pair is in tears and begins to turn on each other. Knowing that he can't get out of this, he tried to escape and ran. The former police officer shoves the supermarket cart at him. He falls to the ground. He's down, out cold from that hit. But just then the cops rush in. Seeing them, the wife just loses it. She's got this look of pure desperation and starts talking about ending it all. She doesn't want her son to be known as the kid of a criminal, a cheating dad, and a mom who's a kidnapper. But the people inside aren't having it. They feel for her. They think she's in the right. They start yelling, defending her. The cops fire a warning shot in the air. In that chaos, someone snatches the gun. The wife gets arrested. But before she's taken away, the customer tells her to check her phone. She gets a message. 100 million won transferred to her account. Turns out, while the manager was knocked out, 2 of the customers managed to unlock his phone. All that time, his wife and son were struggling. He was using his money to buy gifts for other women. So these 2 customers took it upon themselves to transfer all of his money to his wife. Everyone's cheering her on, telling her to be strong, to keep going, and to use that money to start a new life. That's the best revenge she could ever get. The wife gets into the police car, bows her head, and thanks everyone for their support. Now, let's switch gears to that brave customer, Myri. After 15 years of grinding and struggling, she's finally done with renting. She's about to embark on a journey to her very own home. Her whole family, her husband, and their kid, are thrilled to be moving into this fancy new apartment. Mai-ri looks around at her new neighborhood. Everyone seems so relaxed and carefree. The air has this sweet, pleasant smell that she loves. Just then, the security guard greets her, snapping her out of her daydream. She tells him this is her first home after 15 years of struggling. Everyone seems so friendly and clean. It looks like everyone here is a good person, but little does she know. Behind that sweet facade, there's a darker side. The parking lot is cramped. People walk their dogs but let them poop everywhere. People gift boxes of apples, but they give all the rotten ones. People sit together and talk, but only to gossip about others. But in Mai-ri's eyes, everyone seems different. That attitude makes the security guard pretend to agree with her. Suddenly, the sky darkens. Mai-ri quickly gathers her things, and a storm is coming. The banner falls down, and half of the wall is exposed. Mai-ri goes to her apartment and begins to decorate it. The delivery worker said that the table was cracked. Mai-ri shows him the image, and it is. The food and the dish were not separate. The bottom of the vase was cracked. They were also 20 minutes late. The advertisement said that if they were late, they would compensate her with 100,001. Mai-ri was about to show the delivery worker the message, but he said that they would compensate her with 50,001 instead. Mai-ri happily agrees. As the delivery workers are leaving, Mai-ri receives a message that the guest has arrived. She opens the door to see her mother-in-law and her 3 sisters-in-law. Mai-ri cooks non-stop and gets burned from the hot water. But her husband and the rest of the family don't help her. Then, they bring out all the new items, like the Buddha statue, the Bible, and a talisman. Her husband invites them to come over often, and they can sleep over in the bedroom. Mai-ri is unpleased. Suddenly, her husband's stomach hurts. The mother-in-law thinks that it's because Mai-ri cooked with too much salt. Not only that, they don't like the house and call it old and cheap. Finally, Mai-ri brings out crab soup. Her sister-in-law says that there is no crab. It turns out that Mai-ri was so angry that she chopped all of it. The sister-in-law wants beef and pork, but Mai-ri said that because they had to buy the house, they couldn't afford it. The mother-in-law starts wailing, and the sisters-in-law chime in, blaming their brother for not finding a wife who could bring them wealth and good fortune. They completely ignore Mai-ri's feelings and just keep putting her down, saying she's worthless. Mai-ri gets so fed up, she slams her hand on the table, but they don't stop. They say the husband married a shrew. They all gang up on her, so Mai-ri grabs the fire extinguisher. She imagines spraying them all with it, getting pure, twisted satisfaction. But the mother-in-law catches her. She pretends she's just using it to exercise since she's feeling bloated. Unable to breathe in that house, Mai-ri decides to get out of there and go to the supermarket to relieve some stress. She's determined to buy all the discounted items, but she ends up at a BBQ restaurant, devouring a single skewer. Then she sees the story about the supermarket hostage situation on TV. Mai-ri's family hears the news and rushes to the scene. The husband sees a figure that looks like his wife, so he runs up and hugs her, crying hysterically. He says he can't live without her. Suddenly, his wife's voice comes from behind him. He's shocked, then hugs her tightly, along with their daughter. Mai-ri is happy to be with them. The former police officer customer comes home and makes bibimbap Korean mixed rice. Her husband compliments her strength, saying she's so strong that even 3 guys couldn't push her away. Her beautiful daughter is curious about her mom's story. Back at Mai-ri's house, her mother-in-law and sisters-in-law are scolding her for getting involved in that hostage situation and for not knowing right from wrong. Then, the news about the supermarket story cuts to a new breaking story. A high school girl has been kidnapped, and her body has been found after 12 hours. The police have launched an investigation. Hearing this, Mai-ri suddenly becomes agitated. She runs to her bedroom and looks at a photo of her best friend. She remembers moments from when they were in school. Mai-ri is sad and decides to go out for a drink to clear her head. She runs into the 2 customers from the supermarket incident that morning. They introduce themselves as the new renters of apartment 104. The 2 women look at each other and laugh. They seem to be hiding something. Then, the 3 of them quickly sit down together. The woman with long hair introduces the other woman to Mai-ri as Kyung-ja, a super strong former cop. She then says that she is great at planning and knows a lot of people. Mai-ri realized that the woman could deduce like Sherlock Holmes, so she admits that she always dreamed of becoming a detective. A cop, a detective, and a lawyer all in one group. So they decide to form a team called the Ajuma Avengers. Ajuma is a Korean word for middle-aged woman or aunt. Kyung-ja thinks they're missing something important, an intelligence operative. Just then, the supermarket delivery girl happens to pass by. She seems perfect for the role, so they recruit her on the spot. Finally, a team of 4 is formed, Mai-ri as the strategist. Kyung-ja is a police officer. Ji-hyun is the lawyer. So he is the intelligence operative. The Ajuma Avengers are officially launched today. Kyung-ja brings lunch to her husband. She greets her junior officers and encourages them to keep their spirits up. As she says goodbye, her husband turns and looks at the place where he used to work, quietly thinking about the past. Flashback to 5 years ago, when Kyung-ja was still a police officer. Her strength made many of her colleagues question whether she was even a woman. When she took action, it was like a female version of the Hulk. Every time she went all out, the whole team would be terrified. People would joke that whoever married her better be prepared to get beaten up. Little did they know, her husband was among them. Because of the workplace, they needed to be serious. Whenever Kyung-ja wanted to get intimate with her husband, she had to do it in a place where it was only the two of them. But when things got steamy, she was afraid of getting caught, so she would quickly push her husband away, causing him to fall. They received information that the leader of a gang was spotted, so the whole team sets out together. When they split up, Kyung-ja heads straight inside alone. The other men were picking beautiful women, and they thought that she was a chef, so they begin to laugh at her. Kyung-ja walks up to the gang leader and uses a single finger to pop the cap off a bottle of liquor, slowly pouring it for him. She grabs a microphone and announces in a booming voice that she's from the major crimes unit of the police station, not a cook. She declares today is his death anniversary. Kyung-ja charges in like a whirlwind, landing the first punch without missing. She takes on a dozen tough, burly men single-handedly. The room explodes with the sounds of punches, kicks, and furniture smashing. Outside, her husband and another officer just stand blocking the door, while Kyung-ja is inside, dishing out a beating to everyone. Taking advantage of an opening, one fat guy manages to escape. Kyung-ja chases after him. She runs towards the rooftop, not realizing he's right behind her. Just then, her husband arrives in time. He fires a warning shot, making the fat guy freeze. They think they've got him, but the guy pulls out a knife from under his foot and slashes at Kyung-ja. Her husband reacts instantly, firing back. The bullet hits the guy. They check on him and realize he's dead from the wound. Both of them are flustered and don't know what to do. Fearing her husband will be implicated, Kyung-ja snatches the gun from his hand and takes all the blame. But her husband refuses, because this could destroy her career. Even so, Kyung-ja is determined to take all the blame, so he doesn't have to give up his job. To this day, she doesn't regret her decision. Back at the apartment complex, Kyung-ja and Mi-ri run into the Residents Association president, who's upset about something. They ask her what's wrong, and they find out that a shiny red car parked out front has been taking up 2 parking spots for the past 3 weeks. No one touches it, and no one knows who the owner is. It's causing her not to have a spot to park her car. Kyung-ja says this is incredibly unethical, and the person who parked the car must be found immediately. After saying that, the two of them head to Ji-hyun's store, so he is out delivering goods and makes a pit stop at the store. The whole team gathers together. Kyung-ja and Mi-ri tell the story about the red car taking up 2 parking spaces for the past 3 weeks. Hearing this, So-hee, the informant, knows right away that it's that red BMW. He just moved here 3 weeks ago, and he caused a parking incident a few days ago that made the whole complex noisy. The incident had him parking the car sideways, causing other residents not to be able to pull their cars out. Because of him, the association president could not make it to her son's wedding. The vegetable shop could not bring out its goods, and the sick kid could not be taken to the hospital. He's a parking menace. Moreover, she saw him peeing in the children's playground and smoking in the area where kids play. He doesn't even sort his trash. As the story ends, everyone is angrier. On top of that, So-hee saw that he was a thug who was full of tattoos. The next morning, Kyung-ja and Mi-ri were walking when they saw that someone had covered Kyung-ja's car with chewed bubblegum. They found it while walking. Not knowing who dared to do this to her, they run into the couple who own the red BMW. Seeing Kyung-ja's car covered in gum, he's very happy. He tells her that if she doesn't want to be hated, she shouldn't cause trouble. That vague statement makes Mi-ri suspicious. While she's confused about who caused this, Mi-ri tells Kyung-ja that she knows who it is. They go to Ji-hyun's grocery store and ask her about a type of bubblegum. Mi-ri asks if anyone big and tattooed bought a lot more of that gum than usual. Ji-hyun confirms that someone like that did. They know right away that the fat guy is causing trouble. The three of them gather together, and Mi-ri is certain she's right, because the gum on the car is bright red, meaning the gum has a lot of food coloring. Moreover, she saw that their tongues were very red. That's how they identified the suspect. The next step is Kyung-ja's plan to get revenge on them. She goes home and buys pig's feet for her husband. He realizes that his wife is up to something because she is acting nice to him. He tells her to confess. Seeing that her husband is caught on, Kyung-ja tells him the whole story about her car and asks for his help to punish them. Buried in paperwork and struggling with the times, she asks him to help his wife. Myri is having a headache with her husband. He got too drunk to the point where he took all the money to pay the driver. In addition, he lost his credit card, so she goes down to the parking lot to find it. While she's looking around in the car, she finally finds it. She then realizes that she is locked inside. 3 cars around her are blocking her from getting out. The thug and his buddies are the ones who did this. He asked his buddies to do this because Myri took his parking spot. Myri tries to open the door, but is unable to. On top of that, she forgot to bring her phone. The car runs out of battery, and everything shuts down. Myri is hopeless and stretches her arm out and calling for help. Finally, the security guard of the apartment sees her. Myri tells the security guard the situation and asks him to push the red car back. But they can't because the brakes are on. They try calling the owner, but no one answers. Myri asks to use the phone to call her husband, but he is too drunk to pick up the phone. She calls her daughter, but no one answers. While waiting for the security guard, Ji-hyun and Kyung-ja arrive. They give Myri a blanket to stay warm. Just when they thought things were getting better, Myri gets a stomachache. She is about to explode any minute. Knowing the situation, Ji-hyun looks for a bucket for her to relieve herself. At first, she looks for a styrofoam bucket, but it won't fit through the glass. He says to wait. Myri is about to explode any second. Then Kyung-ja comes and gives her a bowl. Myri takes it. While pooping, she curses to get revenge on the thug. She is not going to let this slide. After saying that, the 3 of them plan to prank the car by destroying it. They would take pictures and send them. However, he does not fall for it, and he does not respond back. After thinking about it, Myri says to do more. Ki and Jun are outside recording a video where they are lifting the car. The fat guy could not contain himself. He wears a fake tattoo and storms downstairs. After bickering, he gets out of the car. However, he does not apologize to her. The next day, the Ajuma Avengers hold a flea market, so he won't be able to take the parking spots. However, he takes revenge by asking his gang to park the cars and take up the spots. This makes the Ajuma Avengers even angrier. While thinking, so he remembers that the thug would separate the trash, and notices that he would have empty meat boxes that were packaged by the meat restaurant near the crosswalk. That restaurant belongs to him. At first, his restaurant would be packed. However, the meat from Jeju is actually imported from other countries. Myri thinks of an idea. The next day, the fat thug arrives at his restaurant, but his employees are reluctant to ask the thug about this month's pay. They haven't been paid for 15 days. However, the thug ignores them and acts angry. During lunch, when his restaurant is packed, he sees that his employees are throwing out meat. He goes to ask the employees, and they say the meat expired a week ago and has a bad smell. However, he takes the meat and prepares it to serve to the customers. He wipes the edges of the other customers' bowls and gives them to the new customers. Just then, the Ajuma Avengers arrive and expose him for importing the meat illegally. However, the thugs said that they are trash and are not strong enough. Then so he takes out the videos that she filmed. She accuses him of withholding his employees' wages. Not stopping there, she presents clear evidence of him using leftovers and expired meat. Everything is recorded. This causes everyone in the restaurant to erupt in anger. Just then, the regulatory inspection team arrives in time. For his actions of using fake products and reusing expired ingredients, he finally pays the price with a notice of business suspension for 30 days. Unable to contain his anger, he immediately calls his gang to teach the Ajuma Avengers a lesson. But as soon as his car is parked neatly, the Ajuma Avengers start their plan. Just like before, 3 cars simultaneously surround his car. Then the Ajuma Avengers go out for a beer, leaving him behind. He sits in his car and desperately calls his gang to come and help. But one end is blocked by a car, and the other end can't be accessed because the road is under construction. He doesn't know that all of this is part of the Ajuma Avengers plan. Finally, he calls his girlfriend, but only gets a busy signal because she's with her new boyfriend. So he experiences the same thing as Myri that night. He's lonely, hungry, and cold. His car runs out of gas. He takes 2 pieces of paper to cover himself to keep warm. He asks for help, but is hopeless. After experiencing a terrifying night, he apologizes when he sees people outside, promising not to do it again. And he really does. He seems to have come to his senses. He voluntarily acts as a traffic signal for the neighborhood, working hard, a far cry from the cruel thug he once was. It seems that the parking problem has been solved. The Residents Association president is happy to see Myri. When Myri steps into the elevator, she sees a couple of students happily laughing and passing by, just like how she used to have a friend. While they were walking home together from school, a pervert showed up and exposed himself. Myri gets angry and chases after him. along with 2 police officers. Just as they are about to catch him, he goes into a factory nearby. But there are a lot of male workers there. It's not clear who he is. Myri whispers something in the police officer's ear. She is sure about it. After saying that, the officer asks everyone to come inside for an inspection. Just as Myri said, the pervert confesses. The 2 of them happily invite each other to eat tteokbokki to celebrate the victory. But suddenly her friend's face looks up with bloodshot eyes. Myri wakes up startled in the middle of the night. 3 months ago, a terrible accident happened here. A man fell from up high and died. When the police went to the bedroom, there was a photo of a woman and 2 students next to it. It's a photo that Myri and Ji Ayun took when they were in school. After that incident, the house was cleaned and sold at a cheap price. The next people who moved into apartment 1004 were Myri's family. The Ajumma Avengers have a meeting tonight. They drink beer together, but Ji Hyun is staring at her old wedding photo. She remembers the past in 1995 when she was selling insurance. But the store owner did not like her. He told her that if he had the money to buy insurance, he would give it to charity. He told her to leave, but for some reason, she came back to sell insurance to him. She brings a chokapi to celebrate his birthday, but he just blows it out. Ji Hyun is neither upset nor angry. She places the pie down and says that she will be back. That night, the store owner invites some friends to celebrate his birthday. But he doesn't want to spend any money, which makes everyone uncomfortable. They said that because he's so cheap and stingy, he is still single. Young man doesn't want to argue with his friends and leaves. But his friend makes a hurtful remark, saying that who would want to date a cheap and petty store owner like that? Hearing this, young man loses his temper and punches him. But coincidentally, Ji Hyun is sitting next to him. She witnesses everything. Without thinking, she goes up to young man and says that she's his girlfriend. Incredibly, she closes several insurance deals that night. She thanks him for helping her become the insurance champion of the month. He's also happy because she helped him get out of a tight spot. The 2 of them have a few drinks and end up getting married. But now, Ji Hyun only sees this as her life's hell. Suddenly, Min-woo comes to pay for a pack of noodles. The bruises on his hands are visible. Even though he doesn't have enough money, Ji Hyun happily lets him take it. Then she laments to the Ajumma Avengers that the boy is so pitiful. His father owns a big company, but went bankrupt during the COVID pandemic. His wife had an affair and left. The father is raising his son alone and has injured his back. Now he's always drunk. After talking for a bit, the 2 mothers suddenly remember that it's time to pick up their kids and quickly get up to leave. Hyung-ja goes to pick up her daughter, but her daughter wants to take some birthday photos with her friend. Her daughter asks for permission, and Kyung-ja doesn't have the heart to say no. She tells her daughter to only go for an hour. Just then, her husband calls, wanting to hear his daughter's voice. But because she doesn't want him to know, she pretends that her daughter is asleep. He informs her that there is a report in the neighborhood about a pervert. He's worried that something will happen to her daughter because she's so pretty, just like her dad. If she looked like her mom, he wouldn't be as worried. Kyung-ja gets annoyed and hangs up. Just then, Myri is picking up her son, and she sees Min-woo struggling with his drunk father. Recognizing that her friend is in trouble, her daughter tells his mom that something is wrong. She asks her daughter to ask for help. Luckily, Min-woo's father is taken away on time. He bows his head and thanks Myri and her daughter. Myri also tells him to let her know if he has any problems. The 2 of them go home, and Min-woo stays behind to take care of his father. But later, he receives a message that he has been added to a chat group used by bullies at school. Min-woo is scared as he reads the messages on the screen. Kyung-ja's daughter finally gets close to home. She's talking to her friend, unaware that someone is quietly following them. Only when the light flickers and goes out does she feel something is wrong. Min-yo quickly speeds up, telling her friend not to hang up. She starts running, but the person behind her also speeds up. In the chaos, she drops her bracelet. The follower stops, picks it up, and disappears. The next morning at the school cafeteria, the bullies nudge Min-woo and tell him to go to the back of the line. Hyun-ji, who is standing behind Min-woo, wants to stand up for him, but is stopped by her friend. She doesn't want Hyun-ji to get involved. Then, when he sits down to eat, Min-woo can't eat peacefully because the bullies keep disturbing him. Hyun-ji can't stand it anymore. She comes forward to stop them, but they laugh at her, thinking that they are a couple protecting each other. This makes Min-woo embarrassed. The Ajumma Avengers are unaware of their children's problems and are discussing things amongst themselves. Hyung-ja confidently says that she is very experienced when it comes to married life. The other 2 are curious and want to know if she still does it with her husband. She shyly shares that if they do, it will be fiery because her husband's stamina is still good. But in reality, only she is fiery, to the point where she transforms into a very strong person. but her husband only feels pain and isn't interested. When asked about Myri, she also coyly brags that her husband wants it every day, but she doesn't always give it to him. But in reality, it's only when her husband diligently does housework and earns enough good deeds that he can have it. But because he got drunk and lost the credit card last time, Myri took away 3 of his grapes. He begs and promises that a strong warrior will visit her tonight. Myri relents and gives him back the 3 grapes. Thinking about the sweet romantic night, Myri smiles to herself. But Ji-hyun is still as stingy as she was in her youth, saving water and gas, even saving on her husband's needs. To her, there's nothing to tell. Just then, Min-woo comes to Ji-hyun's store to buy a pack of cigarettes. But because he's still a student, she can't give it to him. Even though he lies and says he's buying it for his dad, Ji-hyun still refuses. Suddenly, a group of kids comes in. Min-woo, haunted by the words of the bullies, takes advantage of an opening and steals the pack of cigarettes. He runs quickly to where they are. They make Min-woo hold out his hand to act as an ashtray. But before they can do anything, Myri's husband arrives. These guys are crazy, he yells. He grabs Myri's husband, and they act tough with each other. Just then, Hyun-ji walks by and realizes that it's her dad. That makes the bullies even more provocative. But Hyun-ji's dad can't hit them because they threaten to send him to jail. Just as a punch is about to land on his face, it's stopped by Kyung-ja. She arrives in time to rescue the 2 of them. What's more, this Ajumma takes care of the bullies, hitting them accurately. They thought she was an easy target, but they are shocked and scared. Finally, they all run away without looking back, leaving behind a backpack. Hyun-ji runs up to pick it up and sees that it belongs to Min-woo. When they get home, her dad tells her to just give him the stuff and stay away, because he thinks Min-woo is hanging out with thugs and being corrupted. But Hyun-ji is sure that he's doing it because he's being forced. Myri sees the 2 of them arguing and comes to ask what's wrong. Hyun-ji tells her everything, that he's being bullied at school. Hearing this, Myri wants her daughter to help the boy, at least by telling a teacher. But that won't solve anything. If she gets involved, she might get bullied too. Before going to sleep, Myri's husband keeps thinking about what happened earlier. He feels so ashamed in front of his daughter. Just then, Myri comes into the room wearing sexy pajamas. She gently calls out to her husband. But because he's in a bad mood, he tells her that he'll harvest with her when he's feeling better. Myri is annoyed at being rejected. She takes her pillow and goes somewhere else. You promised a strong warrior would come tonight. What a load of nonsense. Myri mumbles. Her husband can only hug his face and cry. Tonight, that warrior is dead. Myri doesn't go to sleep. Instead, she goes to meet the Ajumma Avengers. She snaps off grapes one by one and eats them. Kyung-ja is feeling pain and stiffness in her neck, shoulders, and body. She tells them about meeting the kids smoking earlier and teaching them a lesson. Hearing this, Ji-hyun remembers that she lost a pack of cigarettes after Min-woo came in, asking to buy one. Mentioning Min-woo, Kyung-ja remembers the backpack that he dropped. She thinks that the kind boy is hanging out with bad people, but Myri says that it's because he's being bullied that he's acting that way. Over there, Min-woo is cleaning up his dad's mess when he gets a message from the bullies. They tell him to take a picture of the teacher's underwear and send it to them. Min-woo sits in class and can't focus. Even though he doesn't want to, he's forced to do it. Then they threaten to tell the teacher on him. So Min-woo has to take all the blame. He has to go see the teacher and gets scolded, but he can't explain the truth. He can only cry. When he leaves, he still can't escape those jerks. They pat his face and force him to go sing karaoke, then drag him away. The mothers on the other side of the road witness this and record everything to use as evidence. They follow them to the karaoke place and meticulously search each room. They find Min-woo being abused inside. They kick him and force him to put money in for them to sing. Kyung-ja can't stand it anymore and wants to teach them a lesson. But the other women stop her in time, afraid of affecting the bigger plan. So they drag her out. Suddenly, they see Min-woo leaving. They follow him. Min-woo is like a zombie, walking ahead to the point where he crosses the street without stopping. Seeing the danger, Myri rushes forward, using her body to brace for the impact. Luckily, the truck stops in time. Everyone is shocked and runs after her, thinking they almost lost their hearts. When things calm down that night, everyone asks Han Min-woo about what happened. The mothers promise to be there and protect him. But for Min-woo, that kind of help is something he can no longer trust. His dad neglects him and doesn't know what he eats or how he lives. His mom is unreachable. He has told the teacher and even the police about the bullying, but nothing has changed. Instead, he gets beaten worse. He can only wait for the adults to solve it for him, but he has waited, and nothing has happened. That's why he reacted so strongly when the mother said they would help him. Everyone feels sorry for Minwoo and starts crying. Suddenly his phone rings. He doesn't want the Ajumma Avengers to get involved in his situation, so he leaves to take the call. The bullies ask Minwoo to come to the park. If he doesn't, Hyunji will be in trouble in his place. Mentioning Hyunji, Minwoo quickly runs there. Over there they surround Hyunji, take her phone and smash it. Then they rummage through her stuff. Minwoo runs up and begs them to let Hyunji go, to bother him instead of dragging Hyunji into it. But they don't listen. They corner the two of them and start beating Minwoo. They beat him without mercy. Hyunji cries and begs them to stop. As Minwoo collapses, they turn to prepare to harm Hyunji. A shout of "Stop!" rings out, making them turn around. The Ajumma Avengers come forward. Myri throws water straight into the face of the one holding the lighter. But they aren't scared, and even bring out knives to threaten the adults. They rely on being minors, thinking that even if they do something too far, they won't be punished. And if they get bruises, then all the women here will be sent to jail. But things won't go as they think. Hyunja doesn't hit them first. Instead, she instinctively takes the knife away from him, quickly, making him unscathed. These guys even call their teammates to help them. It's kids versus the mothers and their kids. Just then, their parents call them and tell them to solve it quickly. A battle breaks out in the middle of the park. It's a low-budget action scene, but it causes high-level chaos. The Ajumma Avengers all have their weapons. Myri and Ji-hun throw them like catching frogs. So he uses her delivery scooter to take each one down. By the end of the battle, the Ajumma Avengers win with a score of 1-0. The thugs run away, leaving their teammates behind. The parents make the three of them kneel and hold their hands up to the sky. They tell them that if they cause trouble again, they won't let it slide. The Ajumma Avengers will be waiting at the school gate. 2 days. The moms will still be waiting. Just then, Myri's husband and Kyungja's husband also arrive. They take Minwoo and Myri back home. The next morning, Myri goes to school and has a private meeting with the teacher. She shows her the videos of Minwoo being bullied. And a meeting of the Committee Against Violence is held, with the decision that students who commit violence must transfer schools. Hearing this decision, the Ajumma Avengers are all happy. Now Minwoo can go to school without having to worry anymore. And that's not all. Kyungja also makes them pick up all the cigarette butts at the park. The Ajumma Avengers also stop by Minwoo's house and help him clean the house. His dad informs everyone that he will start working again next week. Everyone is happy and congratulates him. The next morning, Myri sees a new family moving in. When she asks the security guard, she finds out that it's the apartment right above her house. She quickly goes to the mailbox and finds a very strange envelope. The name on it is someone else's, but the address is her house. So Myri gives it to the security guard to return to the sender. While she's preparing dinner, she gets a call from her aunt. Her aunt tells Myri that, according to her friend, someone died in this apartment a few months before Myri moved in, an old couple. That's why it was so cheap. After hearing the call, Myri loses her composure a little. She says that's why people were so surprised when she said she was moving into apartment 1004. The next morning, Myri asks her friends if it's true that someone jumped off the balcony. The two of them admit that it's true, but it's not a big deal. It happened a long time ago. The man was very nice. After his daughter passed away, he wanted to go see his son, but 3 days later, they heard that he had passed away. Everyone advises her to think positively. Myri can only drink alcohol during the day. She listens to her friend's words, muttering and comforting herself. But when she gets home, she's shocked to hear her husband say he wants to move. Myri doesn't want to move because she doesn't have enough money to move to another house. Her husband has a fragile heart, so he keeps begging his wife to agree. The two of them keep arguing, one wanting to and one not wanting to. Only when thunder rings out do the two of them stop. The husband has a nightmare in the middle of the night, dreaming that the man who jumped off the building grabs him and strangles him. He wakes up startled. Just then, a new case happens near the apartment complex. The victim is a woman. Forensic officials are conducting an inspection, and the strange man who just moved in is standing in front of apartment 1104. The next morning, Myri gets on the elevator and meets a mother and son. The son is eating and making a mess. Myri helps pick it up and says a few words. But the boy's mother says that the cleaning fee is included in the management fee, so someone will clean it up. Then she sprays perfume all around as if Myri is carrying a bad odor. At the trash disposal area, Myri has another unlucky incident. She sees a bag of trash that hasn't been sorted properly and complains about it. Just then, the Residents Association president catches her holding the trash bag. She insists that Myri is the one who has been using the wrong bags and not sorting trash recently. She even dumps it out, calling everyone to catch her red-handed. Even though Myri says that it's not hers, no one believes her. They leave, still criticizing her. Myri is annoyed and determined to find out who the owner of the trash bag is. Myri rummages through everything to see if there's anything. She finds a chocolate wrapper that the boy ate this morning, and also the perfume bottle that she sprayed. She immediately guesses who the culprit is. Myri takes all of her trash and puts it right in front of her door. She carefully leaves a note. Myri quickly takes pictures of the evidence and brings them to the president to clear her name. That night, Myri's husband secretly takes a USB and opens it. It's something his friend lent him this morning, saying that it's something magical that doesn't require medicine. He opens it and sees that it really is magical. As it's getting to the steamy part, Myri pushes the door open, but she finds that it's locked. The husband inside gets shocked and embarrassed, and quickly hides the computer and goes to open the door for her. But the computer keeps stuttering, so the husband has to speak along to cover up the computer's noises. Then he closes the door so he doesn't want his daughter to know. He loudly says that today is the grape harvest day and hugs his wife tightly. Myri is embarrassed. Although she wants it, she pretends to gently hit him for surprising her, thinking she'll get some sweetness, but before long, Myri is furious. Her husband pretends to have a stomachache and sneaks straight into the bathroom. He can't understand himself. He just doesn't feel any interest when he faces his wife. The next morning, there's still a lot of trash at the apartment because the transportation company isn't picking it up. The security guard has to tell everyone to take their trash back home and sort it out. The reason is that many people aren't sorting their trash, so the trash collection site is refusing it. But people blame the security guard for working slowly and handling things poorly, leading to the accumulation of trash like this. Just then, the Residents Association president walks by and sees everyone complaining. She thinks of Myri and thinks that she might be able to solve this problem, so she calls her. Myri, listen. If you three agree to be in charge of supervising all the trash cans in the complex, you'll get free trash bags for a month and a year of management fees. But Kyung-ja and Ji-hyun don't want to. They don't have enough time as it is, let alone to supervise trash. But Myri gives reasons to persuade them. She tells Kyung-ja that the president's younger brother is a high-ranking official at the police headquarters. If this project is successful, it might help her husband get a promotion. But when asked about what Myri gets for helping without anything to gain, Myri only says that she's happy if the area is clean. But in reality, the price she pays is that the president introduces her to lots and lots of her friends for her husband's gym. Finally, the three of them work together on this job. They sort out the trash bags that aren't following the rules and classify them, finding clues to return them to their owners. One by one, the incorrect trash bags are all returned by Myri's group. Thanks to that, Ji-hyun can sell some items on the side. Kyung-ja is like how she was back when she was a police officer, eating kimbap and spying on criminals throwing trash from their cars. Finally, she catches one and chases after him, throwing the bag of trash back at him. The guy is scared and can only grab it and run back. By the end of the day, the three of them are almost done, and it looks much neater and cleaner than before. Only a few bags of trash remain. The three of them try to finish the job. Suddenly, Myri sees a flyer for a lost dog from apartment 902. She suddenly remembers that she slipped and fell a few days ago because she stepped on dog poop. Coincidentally, the dog's name is also Myri, but the dog owner thinks it's normal. She must be sad about losing her dog because she treats her dog like her younger brother. Just then, she gets a report that someone saw her dog. She goes there without knowing that someone is following her. First, it was the house with a dog. Now it's a trash bag with personal items bought from the mini-mart. Looking through them, Myri guesses that this trash is from a man who lives alone. Suddenly, Ji-hyun screams. They see a strand of pink hair with blood attached. It seems to be from a young woman. As Myri is putting away the trash bag, she hears a scream. Following her instincts, she picks up a bag and runs toward the sound. A young woman says that she's being followed by a pervert. Myri chases after him and sees a man covered in a hooded jacket standing next to a wall. She throws the bag of trash at him over and over, even though he says it's a misunderstanding. But Myri doesn't believe him and keeps throwing things at him. She even sees that his zipper is down. Myri yells and blindly hits the man, and he runs away. Myri immediately chases after him, but suddenly, a car rushes in and blocks her path, making her stop. The car window rolls down, and the man inside quickly apologizes to her and speeds off. The pervert is gone. Myri is confused when she sees So-hee delivering nearby. Without hesitation, she runs up and asks So-hee to take her to chase after that guy. Faintly in the distance, he's turning into the apartment complex. Myri jumps out of the vehicle and runs to where the broom is leaning on the side of the road. Her eyes are full of determination to catch him for sure. But after chasing each other up the staircase, there's no sign of him. Taking advantage of when Myri wasn't paying attention, he snuck back to his building and safely returned to his room. Over here, Kyung-ja's daughter tells her mom about the pervert from the other day. Hearing that, her mom tells her to temporarily stop going to tutoring classes. But her husband doesn't agree. He wants her to take their daughter to school and describes his wife's body as being bony with a big frame, saying that she has natural protection. Even if she comes home late, perverts will be scared of her. It sounds like a compliment, but why is it so hurtful? Kyung-ja is a little sulky, so she doesn't want to eat pizza anymore. Mi-ri is still angry about not catching that pervert. She promises that next time she sees him, she'll tear him apart. Then she goes back to piecing together the receipts from the trash bag with a strand of bloody hair. After working hard all night, she finally puts together a pile. She sees that they are all receipts from the supermarket store. The next morning, Mi-ri takes her child's school bag and notices that the security guard is watering the plants at the apartment complex. It's the pervert from yesterday. The two of them drag each other to the apartment management office to get to the bottom of it. But the security guard says that his background has been fully verified. His documents have been checked. And what's more, he lives in apartment 1104 in the same building as Mi-ri. That is, the apartment above hers. Hearing this, Mi-ri says that something's wrong. How could a resident be working as a security guard? He's disguised himself to do shady things. But the security guard insists that he has a clean record and is handsome, so he can't be a pervert. But to Mi-ri, harassment on a sensitive issue isn't related to looks and education. Hearing that he's being slandered, he gets angry and makes a bet with Mi-ri that he will catch that pervert. And he explains that the reason he saw her that day was just because he really needed to go to the bathroom and didn't make it to the bathroom in time. After finishing things here, Mi-ri and Kyung-ja carry the trash to the store to return it to the owner. Seeing the pile of receipts that have been taped back together, the supermarket employee confirms that these are indeed receipts from the store. Kyung-ja leaves the trash bag on the table, and Mi-ri explains to the employee why they have to do this. Then, after looking for a while, she realizes that this guy is the one who was speeding the night she was chasing the pervert. Knowing that Mi-ri recognizes him, he says that this is indeed trash from the store, because some residents of that apartment complex often bring trash and throw it in the supermarket's trash cans. So sometimes he retaliates. As he's putting the trash bag away, Mi-ri sees that his hand is injured and has a little bit of redness. They ask if there's a strand of a woman's hair with a piece of bloody tissue with it, and what is the wound on his hand. He then explains that he was hurt from packing goods and doesn't know anything about the dyed hair. Maybe a student who didn't like it cut it off. But Mi-ri never said that the hair was dyed. Hearing that, he only says that a lot of students come to the store, most of them with dyed hair. So he guesses that's how it is. Kyung-ja and Mi-ri leave the store, but she still feels a little strange. The supermarket employee quickly rushes to the bathroom, rummages through the trash bag, finds the tuft of cut hair, and flushes it down the toilet. He cut his girlfriend's hair just because he didn't want her to meet any other men. Then he calmly walks out as if nothing happened. Just then, the girl's sister comes to the supermarket. It turns out she works in the same place as him. She hasn't been able to contact her sister for the past few days and is very worried. He calmly says that maybe her sister is tired and went on vacation somewhere, telling her not to worry and slipping her some pocket money. Her sister doesn't know that her sister has been locked in the house by that guy, without any light. He goes home, opens the door to the room to talk to her, but the girl begs him to let her go. She promises not to say anything. She just wants to see her sister, but he says not to worry about her sister because he just gave her some money. The next day, Mi-ri tells the others about the missing hair owner. Asking around, she finds out that at the store, she overheard a conversation between the two, and they also talked about her sister. She's a very thrifty person. To save up for her studies, she has a hair appointment. She's preparing for a test at the academy, so she mixed hair dye and dyed it on her head and her sister's hair. Since she's saving up for school, there's no way she would go on vacation anywhere. After hearing Mi-ri's story, she's sure that this is criminal activity that could be dangerous. She remembers how the supermarket employee's attitude was really strange. It was like he was trying to hide something. Then she asks So-hee if she knows anything about that employee. So-hee says that she only knows that he lives in apartment 202 and almost always delivers goods there. But she noticed that recently, the orders have increased. Before, he only ordered soup. Now he orders pizza, pasta, spicy rice cakes, and 2 lunch boxes. Hearing that, Kyung-ja says that he must have changed his appetite, but she realizes that those foods are girls' favorite foods. Sensing that something is wrong, she asks So-hee to do something. Deliver food to him, but the utensils must be normal so he'll return them. Mi-ri will stand outside and wait for him to return them, then take them home. When she gets home, she opens them up and sees that the food has barely been touched. There are only a few strands of pink hair attached with the letters SOS formed with the hair. During that time, he makes his girlfriend wear a black wig, forcing her, and she only wants to be let go, but he's crazy in love, afraid that if he lets her go, she'll find someone else. She says directly that she's never liked him. She was just being nice to him because she thought he was kind. But to him, every gesture was evidence of her love. She keeps begging him to spare her, but he gets angry and ties her hands and feet. Mi-ri asks Ji-hyun to pretend to bring him kimchi, taking advantage of the opportunity to sneak into his house. She finds a door that's locked from the outside. He gets shocked and starts pulling out a weapon. Through deduction, Mi-ri is certain that the girl at the convenience store is being held captive by the owner. So she quickly contacts her sisters in the group. Because the store owner knows Mi-ri and Kyung-ja, the two of them have to ask their sister Ji-hyun to assist in the rescue. Ji-hyun is scared to storm the tiger's den alone, so Mi-ri encourages her, saying that this is an opportunity to practice her acting skills. Ji-hyun has been longing to win the crown in the middle-aged beauty pageant. Mi-ri then says that Ji-hyun has both talent and beauty, but is only lacking in acting, and that she can take this opportunity to practice in reality. Persuaded, Ji-hyun agrees to single-handedly infiltrate the enemy's lair with the coordination of her two sisters. According to the plan, Ji-hyun goes and knocks on the man's door, lying that his mother bought kimchi and left it at her supermarket, and now she's here to deliver it. Thanks to that, Ji-hyun smoothly enters his house, and indeed discovers a door that's locked from the outside. The man doesn't believe Ji-hyun, and is about to pull out a weapon, but luckily Ji-hyun reacts quickly and prepares a piece of paper with delivery information, making him mistake that she just delivered to the wrong address. He's about to drag Ji-hyun outside, but she immediately displays her acting skills, pretending to have a stomachache and running to the bathroom. Taking advantage of being inside, she sends a message to her sisters outside. Receiving the message, Mi-ri immediately takes a picture of the man's license plate number, then lies that his car was hit by someone else, and tells him to quickly go to the parking lot to deal with it. The man indeed believes it right away. Taking that opportunity, Mi-ri and Kyung-ja press all the floors in the elevator to delay his time. Then, while he's going down, they run to his house and meet up with Ji-hyun. Hearing the sounds outside, the captive girl hurriedly calls for help. At the same time, the man has arrived at the parking lot, finds out that he was tricked, and is on his way back. Luckily, Mi-ri's group finds the key in time, opens the door, and successfully rescues the girl. When the man gets to his front door, he sees that the door has been locked with a security lock by Ji-hyun, and the woman has called an ambulance. Seeing that, the man tries to run away, but little did he know that Kyung-ja had appeared in the hallway, chasing him closely. The man runs into the parking lot, picks up a stick, and tries to ambush Kyung-ja. Luckily, right at the critical moment, her husband, who is a police officer, arrives in time. He delivers a shoulder throw, knocking the man to the ground, then handcuffs him securely. At the same time, Mi-ri and Ji-hyun have also taken the girl to the ambulance. A crisis has finally been resolved. The women drink together to celebrate. Mi-ri and Kyung-ja don't stop praising Ji-hyun's acting skills. They learn that the girl was drugged by the man due to a moment of carelessness, which led to her being imprisoned. The man seems to suffer from narcissistic personality disorder, mistaking the girl's kindness for infatuation with him. However, today, only So-hee is missing among the four women. Kyung-ja is a little puzzled. So-hee seems to be working too hard to make money. Ji-hyun has heard that So-hee is actually a female billionaire, earning interest through carefully saved savings, having bought houses and land in her hometown long ago. However, the reality is completely opposite to the rumors. At this moment, So-hee is wearing simple clothes, pacing outside a hospital room, her face full of anxiety and unease. Inside the hospital room is her child, who seems to have been in a coma for a long time. So-hee puts a chocolate bar in her child's hand, hoping that her child will wake up soon. After that incident, out of pride, Kyung-ja's husband lied in front of his colleagues, taking all the credit for rescuing the girl. But in reality, he didn't take the matter seriously at all when Kyung-ja contacted him earlier. Even so, Kyung-ja is still wholeheartedly thinking about her husband, because the chairman of the Women's Association's younger brother holds a high position in the police department. To help her husband get promoted and a raise, Kyung-ja has been constantly taking credit for her husband in front of the chairman, turning him into the most meritorious person in this incident. In another development, Mi-ri suddenly discovers that her husband is mumbling the words, "vanilla scent," and "so good," in his dream. Realizing that something is wrong, Mi-ri checks her husband's purchase receipts, and discovers that her husband, who was only used to drinking hot Americanos, suddenly switched to drinking vanilla lattes. While she's thinking, her husband's phone receives an email, and the sender seems to be a girl. Myri is about to unlock her husband's phone, but sees that the password has been changed. These signs cause Myri to start suspecting her husband. To confirm, Myri goes to the gym where her husband works, trying to find the mysterious girl she suspects is having an affair with her husband. The gym is full of young, beautiful girls dressed scantily. Looking back at the stains on her sleeve cuffs, comparing them for a while, Myri suddenly feels a little sad. Soon after, she sees a girl with a shapely figure giving her husband a cup of coffee. Seeing the intimate appearance of the two, suspicion arises in Myri's heart. Early the next morning, Myri hears the doorbell while she is drunk. Opening the door, it turns out to be her mother-in-law and her sisters-in-law who have arrived, bringing a shaman with them. It turns out that recently, Myri's husband has been having nightmares. To find out the reason, her mother-in-law did not hesitate to find a shaman to help. The shaman mutters prayers, performing rituals in the house. Myri tries to stop them, but is scolded by her mother-in-law and pulled out by her sisters-in-law. The shaman pretends to be mysterious, proclaiming that there is a restless spirit lingering in this house, even pointing directly at Myri, saying that the spirit is hiding in her body. Then, she continuously throws white rice on Myri, scolding her as a demon, demanding to push the so-called spirit out of her body. After the shamanistic ritual ends, Myri seeks out her sisters to lament her grievances. Thanks to the companionship and comfort of her best friends, Myri's mood finally improves. As the women go downstairs, they see that the elevator is under repair, so they have to take the stairs. On the stairs, they find a hat that has fallen. It's the security guard's hat in the complex. Taking a few more steps, they see that he has fallen on the stairs. The woman immediately called an ambulance. At the same time, they notice the sofa on the stairs and realize that the security guard's fall and injuries were due to carelessness while helping someone carry the sofa. The person who asked the security guard to carry the sofa was the head of the security department. This man always liked to order people around, even making the security guard unclog his toilet, even though that's not part of his job scope. That day, after unclogging the toilet, the man continued to ask the security guard to help him carry the sofa downstairs, which was the cause of today's incident. In the residential area, there is a young security guard who has just arrived, always quietly caring for the elderly security guard. But that day, Myri grabbed the young man, still suspecting that he was the pervert who had flashed a girl before. The young man tried his best to explain. A moment later, he hurried to the hospital to visit the injured security guard. But he happened to overhear the conversation between the head of security and the security guard right outside the hospital room door. From this, he learned the reason for the injury. The head of security did not feel guilty, giving the security guard hush money and reminding him not to blame him for the sofa incident. After the head of security left, the young man entered the hospital room to visit the security guard. It turns out that the security guard was once a teacher and had pulled the young man out of the mire of his life. So now, he wants to repay the teacher's kindness. To do this, he took the initiative to approach the head of security, showing friendliness and being amiable in front of him. Using the excuse of helping to park the car, he obtained the keys to the man's car. Recently, Guang Yu, the young security guard who just arrived, has become a hot topic of discussion in the area. When he saw a teenager snatch a girl's phone, Guang Yu immediately chased after him, taught him a lesson, and helped the girl recover her phone. This scene happened to be seen by Myri. However, despite witnessing Guang Yu's heroic action, Myri still could not dispel her suspicion of him. When the sister group gathered, Ji-hyun revealed that she heard that Guang Yu only rented the house for a short period, so the rent was very expensive, more than $1,000,000. Myri wondered to herself, renting a house for more than $1 million and working as a security guard. It clearly wasn't logical. As the women were talking, they saw a very special missing person poster posted in front of Ji-hyun's supermarket. The content was to find the owner of a pair of underwear. It turns out that a few days ago, Ji-hyun had discovered a pair of luminous green underwear discarded in her supermarket. Kyung-ja provided the sister group with a clue. The police have recently been tracking a pervert nicknamed Mouse. This man often follows women who are walking alone, then suddenly drops his pants, exposing his genitals in front of them. It is said that the reason he has that nickname is because of the size of his genitals. However, Myri could not remember the size of Guang Yu's genitals that she had accidentally seen that night, so she couldn't be sure whether Guang Yu was Mouse or not. On a rainy night, Myri once again saw the trash at the disposal area discarded haphazardly, not sorted. While grumbling and opening the trash bag, Myri was horrified to see that inside was a bag full of luminous underwear, styled exactly like the one found in Ji-hyun's supermarket. Almost at the same time, Kyung-ja heard a woman scream and hurriedly ran towards the sound. She saw a young woman trembling, squatting on the ground. The woman explained that a pervert who flashed her followed her just now. In the direction the woman pointed, Kyung-ja found a pair of luminous underwear hanging on a tree. To catch this pervert, Mai-ri and Kyung-ja went to the apartment complex management office, requesting to see the security camera footage, and successfully identified a suspicious person. This person was the one who threw the bag full of underwear into the trash disposal area. However, looking at this person's figure, it seems to be a woman. Immediately after that, the management posted a notice about the appearance of a pervert on the bulletin board. Unexpectedly, the chairman of the Women's Association posted another notice about the residential area's tree planting project on top, completely obscuring the warning. The four women suspected that the person who threw away the luminous underwear was very likely to be the mouse the police were looking for. Mi-ri analyzed that the mouse's motive for committing the crime was an inferiority complex. When he takes off his pants and exposes his genitals, if the woman facing him shows fear, mouse will wallow in pleasure. Conversely, if someone shows contempt or disdain, it may stimulate this guy's inferiority complex, causing him to murder the victim. The problem is that the security cameras in the area are either outdated, with blurry images, or are just for show and not working at all. Based on this, Mai-ri surmises that mouse must be very familiar with this residential area, so he can grasp the location of the cameras and the time the residents return home like the back of his hand. That day, the head of the security department asked security guard Gwang-yu to run errands, making him deliver mail directly to his home. Even though this was not within the scope of the security guard's job, Gwang-yu still did it. However, the head of security angrily ran over to cause trouble, shouting that his mail had been lost, then blamed it all on Gwang-yu. After the mail loss incident, the apartment complex organized a residents' meeting. Headed by the chairman of the Women's Association, the women kept babbling non-stop, blaming the security personnel for the loss. They believe that this is an opportunity to replace the entire security team. Mi-ri and her friends objected, saying that instead of putting too much responsibility on the security guards, they should replace the entire security camera system in the area. This proposal met with strong opposition from the chairman's group. This year, the entire budget of the apartment complex has been used for landscaping, that is, planting flowers and grass. And the landscaping of the residential area directly affects the price of the house, so there is no extra money to replace the cameras. Mentioning the flasher, the women who only care about the house price showed disdain, thinking that there is nothing worth worrying about a trivial pervert. While the meeting was in progress, the lights in the room suddenly went out. In the darkness, security guard Gwang-yu suddenly appeared in his luminous underwear. This is a plan that Mai-ri and Gwang-yu had discussed since yesterday. To completely dispel Mi-ri's suspicion, Gwang-yu has no choice but to cooperate. When the lights come on again, Gwang-yu stands up to explain, emphasizing the importance of installing cameras. Whether it's lost mail or a rampant pervert, as long as there are cameras, they will not be able to escape. The chairman's group still does not agree, even demanding that the security guard be a human camera. Gwang-yu angrily scolds the chairman, calling her actions the oppression of Party A. The chairman refuses to give in, saying that if all the cameras are replaced now, the management fee will also increase. As soon as these words are spoken, more and more households oppose the installation of additional cameras. In the situation of a lack of cameras, the women have to use the most primitive method to catch the pervert. After analysis, they found that mouse only appears on rainy nights. They decided to set a trap to lure the tiger out of the cave. That night, it rained again. Under the encouragement of the sister group, Ji-hyun wore a red dress, put on gorgeous makeup, and walked down the street to attract the pervert's attention. Mi-ri and Kyung-ja were lying in wait on one side, just waiting to catch him red-handed. On another street in the apartment complex, under the guidance of the women, Gwang-yu dressed up as a woman in a dress, also trying to lure the pervert to fall into the trap. Sure enough, the other party fell for the trick, secretly following Gwang-yu. Sensing that he was being followed, Gwang-yu decisively took action, subduing the person. The women hurried over to take pictures. During the scuffle, Gwang-yu snatched off the man's wig. Looking closely, it was the upright head of the security department. The woman escorted him to the police station. Seeing that his affair had been exposed, he knelt down, kowtowing and apologizing, then telling the reason for his momentary confusion. According to him, he has a wealthy wife who doesn't respect him at all, never treating him as a man. For the self-esteem of a man, he acted impulsively and did something stupid. But Mai-ri and her friends didn't believe it. They said that men's impulsive actions are not just once or twice, and women in other areas of the apartment have also been attacked. He strongly denied it, saying that he only loitered around this area and had never been to other areas. Hearing the women call him Mouse, he was even less convinced. He abruptly stood up, shouting that he's well endowed with the goods, a real man, even demanding to drop his pants right there at the police station to prove it. He explained that he was just an imitator. Myri began to feel uneasy, suspecting that perhaps he wasn't lying. Maybe there's still a real Mouse in the apartment complex. Thinking of this, Myri's eyes once again turned towards Guangyu. During a late-night snack, Guangyu explained his teacher-student relationship with the old security guard to the women. He said that he came here to work as a security guard, just to help his teacher share the work while he was in the hospital. Qiangjia and Ji-hun both felt that Guangyu was a good young man, only Myri was still suspicious. She didn't understand why Guangyu didn't say it clearly from the beginning, but Guangyu saw through Myri's thoughts. He said bluntly that perhaps Myri had been deeply hurt by someone she trusted. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so distrustful of others. Qiangjia and Ji-hun also felt that Myri was being a little too suspicious this time. Unexpectedly, Myri suddenly became angry, saying that her friends didn't understand her at all. However, when she got home, Guangyu's words kept swirling in Myri's head. Flipping through a photo taken with her best friend in high school, Myri's memory was pulled back many years. At that time, Myri and her best friend were playing together. But later, her best friend was murdered, while Myri survived. Her best friend's mother blamed Myri, thinking that if they went together, they had to come back together. Even her classmates whispered behind her back, thinking that Myri had indirectly harmed her friend. This old story has haunted Myri's mind for decades. A few days ago, her high school teacher passed away. At the funeral, Myri learned that her best friend's mother had chosen to leave because she was too sad. And tonight, Myri had another nightmare, dreaming that her friend's mother turned into a demon seeking revenge. Zoe was delivering goods to apartment 902, but discovered a man walking out of that room. She wanted to ask him something, but he was hiding behind the stairwell door, holding a utility knife and slowly walking towards Sohee. He gradually stepped down towards her. Sohee heard the sound above her and knew that there was a suspicious person, so she hurriedly ran to the emergency exit. But meeting Guangyu startled her. Then she told him that there was a very suspicious person up there. But when Guangyu went up and shone a light around, he didn't see anyone. He thought that she must have seen something wrong. As Sohee left, she saw the stray cat that she often fed. She sat down and petted it for a while, then took out a packet of treats for it to eat. The suspicious man who walked out of room 902 had been quietly standing behind her, observing her all this time. At this time, at Ji-hyun's store, a child wanted to eat a cake, but secretly took it. Her husband discovered it and asked for the cake back. The child was frightened and burst into tears. Ji-hyun hurriedly ran over to defend him, saying that she told him that if he wanted to eat anything, just take it. But her husband thought that this was wrong. Where children make mistakes, that's where you teach them. If you don't teach them, they'll become bad. Ji-hyun angrily scolded her husband and carried the child back home. The child realized his mistake and returned the cake, but she didn't take it back, instead giving it to him and saying that next time, if he wants something, just ask. As she was about to give him a high five, the child's mother returned. She asked her daughter if she had stolen something, and the child burst into tears, saying sorry to her mother, but the mother just beat her daughter, even though the child was begging. Ji-hyun pulled him towards her and scolded the mother for letting her child go hungry like that. No matter how busy she was, she shouldn't do that. But the mother didn't take it in, and instead threw a bill at Ji-hyun and dragged her crying child home. Seeing the child not wanting to leave and begging for forgiveness, she remembered the old days when she also had a child of about the same age. Because she helped her mother, her daughter knocked over the offering, and her daughter cried and apologized repeatedly. But she couldn't suppress her anger, so she chased her out, then sadly received the news of her daughter's car accident. But when she saw her daughter, everything seemed to have collapsed, and she knelt and cried before her daughter's body, her heart aching. Ji-hyun couldn't take it, so she just grabbed the child and ran away. But her husband stopped her in time. He apologized to the child's mother, because his wife would flare up like that every time she saw a child crying. The mother threatened that if they did that again, she would sue them for kidnapping. After saying that, she took her child home. Knowing that his wife was still heartbroken about her daughter, he comforted her and invited her to eat and drink wine. The old couple held hands and went home together. The next morning, Myri's husband picked up a bill and thought that because he dreamed of poop yesterday, he was lucky today, and then saw a black bag in front of him, thinking that it was another bag of money. He excitedly ran to it, but the strong, foul smell made him think that someone had thrown trash here indiscriminately, not knowing that a corpse was contained in it, its neck tied with a red ribbon. Hyun-ji told her mother that early this morning, she saw her father sitting and drinking coffee nearby. He was running, but he stopped to drink coffee, which made her feel strange. So she remembered the receipt and hurriedly ran to the store. But when she arrived, she didn't see her husband anywhere. She thought that she was too suspicious and went home. Just then, the old man came out and sat down when he saw his wife's figure. The corpse dumped in the plastic bag has been discovered. It was the woman who lost her dog living in apartment 902. He soaked her in the tub and then brought her here to dump on this side. The Ajumma Avengers met and were talking about the girl who lost her dog, also going missing, without knowing that she was dead. They were busy gossiping when they were startled by a resident's shout. When they went forward, they discovered the cat's corpse, just as Sohee was passing by. She was startled by it, but suddenly recognized the collar as the cat that she often fed. So he was shocked and burst into tears. Myri saw that its corpse was contained in a bag from the supermarket. It could be that a resident dumped the cat's corpse here. Suddenly, so he remembered that a man wearing a hoodie tore up the flyer for the lost dog. The dog disappeared, plus the fact that the cat was like this. She thought that there must be someone behind this who was deliberately doing this. Myri connected everything together. If the person who tore up the flyer harmed the dog and also the cat, then it's likely that he is a pervert. Who knows, he may not only be killing animals, but also doing even more evil things. In the evening, Myri ran to apartment 902 to check, and the items outside were still piled up. She pressed the doorbell, but no one answered. After fumbling around for a moment, her phone rang, causing Myri to jump. It was Myri's friend, whom she met at the funeral last time. Myri wanted to meet her to ask about Ji-yoon's mother's grave, hoping to apologize to her. But her friend had asked everyone in the class, and no one knew where Ji-yoon's mother was buried. So she suggested that Myri try to find the address where she lived before she died. Maybe the homeroom teacher would know. She also promised to help Myri with Ji-yoon's mother's address. Then, Myri received a call from Ji-yoon, reporting that a security guard received a report from a resident of apartment 701 to deal with the corpse of the dog in the food waste bin. But when he arrived, it wasn't there. Gwangju stood there thinking that this action was crazy, not knowing what the madman did. The two of them went to apartment 701 to ask for more information, and confirmed that it was indeed this dog. The disappearance of the dog and the owner made Myri feel that everything was suspicious. At this moment, Gwangju stood beside her, looking at Myri with a strange look. At the police station, they were analyzing the two recent murder cases, the female victim in the abandoned house, and the corpse that was discovered yesterday at the riverbank. They compared the ribbon materials used on the two corpses, and found that they were different. One was velvet, and the other was nylon, but the way the knots were tied was the same. The possibility was that the same person did it. As for the case of Ji-yoon 25 years ago, she was the first victim of the ribbon killer. The ribbon material that he used for his first victim was also velvet, the same as the victim in the abandoned house. And his second victim used a rope. They thought that the first common point was that the victim's neck was chained with a velvet rope, and the subsequent victims used a different type of rope. The knots were all identical. It was very likely that this was a copycat ribbon killer, or he had reappeared. At this time, Sohee was delivering and happened to meet Myri. She also wanted to meet Sohee to report the news about the dog's death. The method of committing the crime was the same as the case of the cat, so Myri thought that this was the same person doing it. She wanted to ask Sohee something, but she was busy answering the phone, so she didn't. When leaving, Sohee gave Myri a box of fried chicken. She was embarrassed because she wanted Myri to investigate the cat incident for her, but she was always doing it alone. Sohee continued to deliver and ran into the president's son. She asked him if he liked to eat fried chicken, and was going to give him some chicken coupons, but he said that he didn't need them, making Sohee's whole body stiff, because his voice was too similar to the suspicious person she had met the other day. Myri again went to see a therapist, because feelings of guilt and anxiety had resurfaced. That day, hearing Ji-yoon scream for help, Myri ran straight to that room, but the man said that if she took one more step or called the police, he would harm Ji-yoon, but if she left immediately, they would both live. Faced with that impossible choice, Myri didn't know what to do but stand there and cry. Ji-yoon inside screamed for her to save her, but the man's threat frightened Myri, and she let go of the doorknob and left. Even now, she wished she could have seen his face to find the real culprit. Seeing that she was losing her composure, the doctor could only prescribe some anti-anxiety medication, advising her that whether she chose to continue wallowing in the past or forget everything and move on was up to her. Then, Myri received a call from her friend. The homeroom teacher didn't know where Ji-yoon's mother was buried, but she had obtained the phone number of a neighbor who was close to her. She immediately called that person, not knowing that she lived in the apartment complex right near her. The results of the autopsy of the female victim, found by the river, revealed that the cause of death was strangulation. The name, information, and address have also been confirmed. Hearing that the address was Light Apartment, Kyung-ja's husband hurriedly checked. Finally, the police arrived, but because of the murder, a resident was cursing the victim for causing trouble. Mi-ri heard that ugly remark and went over to confront her. The woman only cared that she deserved it. Never properly cleaned up after her dog, was disrespectful, and was a disgrace, angering the culprit. Mi-ri couldn't hold back and cursed her, asking if she would say that if it was her family, and who knew she might be next. So the two of them grabbed each other's hair and started fighting. Just like back in the day when Ji-yoon was attacked in class, there were people spreading rumors that she was flirting with guys, which is why she was attacked, speaking ill of and degrading the victim who had passed away. Mi-ri quarreled with them. Not only did they speak ill of Ji-yoon, but they also blamed everything on Mi-ri. Unable to restrain herself, she started fighting with her friends as well. Because of this, Mi-ri's sudden outburst surprised Kyung-ja and Ji-hyun, given her everyday image. Mi-ri excused herself to go home and rest. She summoned all her courage to review Ji-yoon's case online. But after reading for a while, the memories came flooding back. When Mi-ri was at the police station, she discovered that a pair of scissors was missing from her friend's belongings. When she and her friend bought ribbons and scissors at the craft store, Mi-ri was terrified, her heart beating wildly. The anxiety returned, and she was horrified to see the scissors in the kitchen, and hurriedly hid them away. So-hee was delivering. Thinking about the girl from apartment 902, she couldn't believe this was happening. She remembered meeting the chairman's son and hurriedly called Mi-ri, but she didn't answer. So-hee had to deliver the goods first. But just as she was about to call Mi-ri again, a stranger suddenly ran out and gagged her. He dragged her into the room and picked up her phone, which she had dropped outside the door. Mi-ri, at home, lay sleeping in a daze, and images of red ribbons appeared, racing towards her and strangling her. She was almost suffocating even in her dream. Mi-ri woke up startled by the vibrating of her phone. The person on the other end was contacting her because they couldn't get hold of So-hee. After hearing this, Mi-ri rushed to the hospital immediately. It turned out that the child that So-hee was always worried about was her son. So-hee had listed Mi-ri's emergency contact number in case she couldn't be reached. Mi-ri sent a voice message to So-hee, saying that her son's condition wasn't good, but then she saw a missed call from So-hee at 8 p.m. Mi-ri immediately called the restaurant owner to ask if So-hee had any deliveries at 8 p.m. and was told that there was one last delivery at Light Apartment. Fearing that So-hee was too tired from delivering and had gone home to rest, Mi-ri went to So-hee's place, but didn't find her there either. At this time, news about the murder of the girl from 902 was also on the news. Gwang-yu brought pizza to visit his teacher, but he refused to eat and told him to take it back. He still left it at the end of the bed and left. Seeing Mr. Kim bring back a pizza, his roommate eagerly wanted to eat it together, but when he tried to untie the knot on the pizza, he couldn't open it because it was too tight. Teacher Kim's eyes showed suspicion about Gwang-yu. Mi-ri returned to the apartment complex and received news that So-hee's last delivery was to apartment 406. She hurriedly ran up to see, and So-hee was tied up with her hands behind her back. The effects of the sedative were wearing off, and she was gradually waking up. So-hee fearfully got up, and the strange man was sitting drawing. She stretched and turned her face to see that it was the chairman's son, and he was also the one who walked out of apartment 902. Not only that, but he also admitted that he was the pervert who went around flashing and stalking women on non-rainy days. He said that he found it pleasurable when other women screamed and ran away. But Yoonju was different. She wasn't like the others and only provoked him while drunk and then left. Before leaving, she also told him that it was cold and to pull up his pants. He mentally took that as concern, and shame surged like a spring. But his heart was pounding because of those words. Hearing So-hee not call Yoon-ju by name, but only say the girl from apartment 902, he became angry and red in the face, pulling out a knife and charging straight towards her. So he begged him to spare her because she had a sick child. But he said, "Don't worry, this only kills animals, not people." Hearing this, she understood that he was the one who killed the cat and tore up the flyer. He confessed that because the flyer had Yoonju's phone number, he couldn't let anyone know. When the candle ran out, he whispered that he would send her to the other side so that Yoon-ju wouldn't be lonely anymore. So he panicked and screamed for help and was immediately gagged by him. She desperately bit down hard on his hand, taking advantage of that moment to grab the utility knife to untie herself. He furiously pulled out a red ribbon intending to strangle her. So-hee struggled, swinging her hand and slashing at him. But when she bent down to untie her feet, he quickly kicked the knife away and rushed to tighten the ribbon around her neck, causing So-hee to faint. At this time, Mai-ri was returning to the apartment complex when she received a report that So-hee's last delivery was to apartment 406. She hurriedly ran up, but the elevator was taking too long, so she had to run up the stairs. When she heard the doorbell of the neighboring house ringing, he stopped and carried her into the bathroom and placed her in the bathtub. He lit candles in front of a painting of So-hee that he had painted himself. Mai-ri arrived at apartment 406 and asked the homeowner if he had ordered fried chicken, but he insisted that he hadn't ordered anything. She deliberately barged in and saw him eating chicken, sharply questioning him about what he was hiding. Forced, he had to confess that when he came home from work, he saw the bag of chicken hanging on the doorknob and thought someone had given it to him. So he brought it in and ate it. Knowing that Mai-ri wasn't the owner of the bag of chicken, he angrily chased her out. After thinking for a while, Mai-ri thought that this might be a fake order to lure people in, and walked towards the neighboring house. Seeing some beads that had fallen, Mai-ri recognized that it was the collar of the cat that So-hee was wearing. Back in the day, before his mother went to check if her apartments were still vacant, she received a report that her son had missed 3 mental health appointments. She hurriedly ran home to see if her son still had medication in his room, but he hadn't run out, and he hadn't taken a single pill. Along with that were packages from house 902 and pictures of Yoon-ju. Then she found another suitcase that was locked with a lock. She broke it open, and inside were all the paintings that he had drawn. She couldn't contact her son until late in the afternoon, and she was extremely anxious. After a while, her son returned home. Seeing the medicine cabinet open and the suitcase torn up, and all the pictures destroyed, she entered the room and forced her son to take the medication, then told him to go stay with his aunt for a while. Holding the ticket in his hand, he tore it up, but his mother's smile made his spine chill. She smashed the glass of medicine, the glass shattering on the floor. The terrified son knelt down, trembling and begging, only hoping to be allowed to continue holding a pen to draw, and promising to take the medicine regularly. She didn't answer, only slowly stepped barefoot onto the broken pieces, bending down to caress her son's face, as if comforting him. Everything would still be done her way. When his mother went outside, he finally breathed a sigh of relief, and cried before the torn paintings. Back to the present, the next morning, Mai-ri returned to apartment 405. She rang the doorbell, but no one opened the door. As she turned to leave, she heard a sound inside. So-hee was slowly waking up, hearing the doorbell from earlier, and she was screaming and shouting for help. But he said that it was useless because he had soundproofed this apartment years ago. Over here, the police investigating the murder of the girl from 902, after reviewing CCTV, discovered that Gwang-ju was the last person to see her. So the police raided his room. They discovered a suspicious suitcase. When they dumped it out, it contained mannequins and many strands of ribbon, rope, a notebook detailing how to strangle people, and information about the 2 most recent murder cases. Gwang-ju was handcuffed and taken to the station. Mai-ri received a report from Kyung-ja and hurriedly ran over. She asked him if he did it to So-hee, who has been missing since yesterday, but he said not to accuse him and go find her. Don't waste time. After looking around, Mai-ri was sure that the kidnapper of So-hee was not him. As for the 902 case, she didn't know if he was involved. Gwang-ju was taken away. He explained that he saw her drunk that day and crying, so he took her back to his room. As for the strange items in the suitcase, he said that they were just props and reference materials for writing a novel. He was writing a story about the ribbon killer, so he had to collect information about him, and even advertised himself by saying that he knew all the ribbon cases from beginning to end. Date, location, method. So if there was anything he could help with, just ask. Then he asked the police who accused him. Kyung-ja's husband recounted that a hooded person had called the president of the association and pointed out that he was the murderer. Coincidentally, apartment 1104 was the one the president of the association rented to Gwang-ju. So she went to check and, according to that mysterious phone call, discovered Gwang-ju's strange belongings. So she reported it to the police. Mai-ri went to the management office to ask about the information of the owner of apartment 405, and was told that the president of the association was the owner of that apartment, and that it was currently vacant. No one had rented it. At the same time, she also received news from Ji-hyun that the owner of apartment 902 was the president. Kyung-ja also said that this morning, the police went to the president's house to ask about her son, but she was very angry about it. Mai-ri was leaving when she ran into the security guard, who said that he had found a delivery scooter hidden here, and he led her to see it to confirm. Both Mai-ri and Ji-hyun went to see it together. and this was indeed So-hee's scooter. Knowing that something was wrong, Mai-ri told Ji-hyun to investigate the surroundings in that building, and she would stay in the building to investigate. But after a while, Mai-ri saw the president of the association taking something strange to another building to throw away, so she had to follow her. When she retrieved them and dumped them out, inside was a black hoodie, paintings of the victim from 902, and especially the victim's items, lipstick, hair, nails, jewelry, were all carefully packaged. And the fried chicken that So-hee had offered him in the elevator last time was recorded in detail. The time she worked, where she went, what she did was recorded by him. Over here, Ji-hyun investigated more about that building and discovered that apartment 405 was vacant, but the utilities were still in use, so she called Mai-ri back. With sufficient evidence, Mai-ri told Ji-hyun that the chairman's son was the culprit and that apartment 405 was the most suspicious. She told everyone to gather at that apartment. Just then, the chairman, feeling uneasy, returned and discovered that Mai-ri had found her belongings. She hurriedly picked them up. When Mai-ri asked about her son, she denied it, saying that she didn't know where he was, and laughed loudly, pointing at Mai-ri's face, mocking her for playing detective. Mai-ri took out the delivery note that the son had recorded, and she quickly grabbed it. Mi-ri gave her a choice: either voluntarily unlock the apartment 405, or she would report him to the police. In apartment 405 at this time, he was continuously pushing So-hee underwater. Even though she begged, he didn't care and took out the roll of ribbon, determined to kill her this time. Outside, the chairman unlocked, but it didn't work, guessing that he had replaced the lock. Ji-hyun was worried and told her to call the police, but she refused and asked them for 3 minutes to return home to find the key. Hyung-ja went to get a fire extinguisher to break the lock. They entered inside but discovered that no one was there. Opening the bathroom, they only saw red in the bathtub. Fearing that So-hee had met something terrible, Ji-hyun called the police. Hyung-ja was checking outside on the balcony, when suddenly, that man appeared from behind the curtain and took Hyung-ja hostage. He told everyone not to come near, or he would drop her like Yoon-ju. Hearing his confession, Mai-ri and Ji-hyun were shocked. After Yoon-ju was taken back to her room by Gwang-yu, that man also appeared. He automatically entered the password, came in, and gagged her so she wouldn't scream. Knowing that he often went into her apartment, she burst into tears and continuously hit him. But he said that he was worried about her and afraid that she would do something foolish because of that damn dog. Hearing him insult her dog, she took a teddy bear and stabbed him, asking if he had killed it. But he only confessed that he had just picked it up in the trash and buried it. Yoon-ju couldn't take it anymore. She called the police, but he snatched it from her hand and accidentally took pictures repeatedly. Yoon-ju saw that he was a real pervert and threw the phone and cursed him as a monster who didn't deserve to be born in this world. Those words were the same as what his mother had said to him since he was little, scolding, berating, and cursing him. He lived with a mentally ill mother, so he also became mentally ill. Then what was coming would come. He hit her head and tied her hands and feet, using a ribbon to tighten her neck until she died. He confessed that he was the ribbon killer. Hearing this, Mai-ri's anger flared up again. She couldn't hold back and asked him who the real ribbon killer really was, and why he was copying his methods of killing people. Seeing that Mi-ri was losing her mind, Hyung-ja told him gently to calm her anger, then asked where So-hee was. He calmly replied that she was dead. Mi-ri, driven mad, charged at him, while Hyung-ja stepped on his foot and broke free. Ji-hyun quickly sprayed pepper spray into his face, but when Mi-ri picked up the utility knife, he kicked her, causing her to faint. Seeing that Mi-ri was injured, Hyung-ja could only kick him before running to her, but that man hit her on the head with a chair. Only Ji-hyun was awake. He tied her and Hyung-ja together in one place, and he put Mi-ri in the bathtub, strangling her. But because she had been tied for too long, Ji-hyun's hands were numb, so she kept screaming in the other room, causing him to run over to deal with the two old women. But Ji-hyun woke up in time and hit him on the head, the glass shattering. Hyung-ja hurriedly picked it up and cut herself free. Because he had practiced martial arts before, he was very strong, and the three of them struggled with him. Hyung-ja held his leg so that everyone could go find So-hee, and finally, Mai-ri found her. Seeing So-hee's condition, Mai-ri couldn't control herself and charged towards him. He slammed her into the wall. Just as she was about to be stabbed by him, Hyung-ja smashed the fire extinguisher into his head in time. Hit by a heavy blow, he finally collapsed. Everyone quickly tied him up, and Mai-ri ran to So-hee and hugged her. The ambulance and the police team had also arrived. All the residents standing outside were applauding loudly when they saw the appearance of the three old women, and the culprit was also dragged away soon after. But he turned around and stared in one direction, smiling. Myri followed his eyes and recognized her therapist, who was standing there. She went over to ask how he was, and was told that he was nearby and heard the ambulance. So he came to see what was wrong, then asked her if she was okay, and told her to come to her appointment as scheduled. Before the police car left, the chairman's son kept staring in that direction. 4 weeks ago, he went to the clinic of that doctor, when he talked about the feeling of being strict by his mother since he was a child. And even when he grew up, he ordered a drink and was looked down upon by the staff, feeling that he was inferior, so he wanted to become someone else. When he got home, he discovered a delivery box for him. Opening it up to see a notebook talking about the hunt and the prey trembling before him, and how to kill people according to the methods of the Red Ribbon Killer. He read the whole book and felt excited, and decided to change into a hunter. He went to the coffee shop and lured the staff to the abandoned house. He strangled her and killed her. When he saw her trembling, begging him, he became even more excited, and he realized that this made him addicted. To what extent? Myri dreamed that Ji-yoon was escaping from the killer with the missing scissors. Then she woke up startled, causing Kyung-ja beside her to jump too. Myri wanted to find the chairman's son to ask him something, but Kyung-ja advised her to rest first, so Sohee's son was out of danger. Everyone was happy that everyone was safe, and also scolded Sohee for hiding her single mother status and not sharing with everyone, so that everyone would have a chance to help. Suddenly, today was the salary due date, 1 day late. Myri called the gym and learned that her husband had quit and opened his coffee shop. Myri hurriedly returned home to find her husband, but couldn't find him, and she couldn't find the house papers either. It turned out that the old man had taken them to pawn for the deposit money to open the coffee shop. Just as Myri appeared, she stopped him and told him to stop transferring the deposit. But it was too late. 20 years ago, Myri's best friend was brutally murdered. 20 years later, through a thorough investigation, Myri was horrified to realize that the culprit seemed to be right beside her. Yesterday, the chairman of the Women's Association's son was arrested on suspicion of being the culprit in the Ribbon Killer case. However, while watching the news video, Myri noticed that Tae-hun's eyes were looking at someone in the crowd. That person was wearing all black, a bucket hat, and looked very out of place. Myri went to the police station, wanting to meet Tae-hun, trying to ask who the mysterious person he was looking at was. But Kyung-ja's husband, who was in charge of the case, didn't allow it. Myri had to confess that she was the first witness of the serial ribbon killings years ago. At that time, the first case occurred at a reservoir. The girl who was pulled out of the lake was Myri's best friend from high school. Before the incident, Myri and her best friend had gone to an old abandoned house to explore together. Unexpectedly, the killer was hiding inside and suddenly attacked her friend. Myri had intended to rush in to save her friend, but the killer forced her to choose. If she took one more step, he would kill her friend. Because she was too scared, Myri didn't dare to move forward, and thus missed the only chance to save her friend. Even now, Myri still felt extremely regretful. If time could be turned back, she would definitely bravely fight the culprit. Even if she was injured or had to sacrifice her life, she would definitely rescue her friend. After recounting the old story, Myri requested Kyung-ja's husband to let her meet Tae-hun, because she believed that he might know the inside story. The husband agreed, but at this moment, bad news arrived. Tae-hun had passed away in the bathroom. Half an hour earlier, Tae-hun had used the excuse of going to the bathroom, and when the police weren't paying attention, he used his shoelaces to end his life. Now, he could finally escape from the mother he thought was suffocating. Along with Tae-hun's death, the only person who knew the story, Myri's clues, also reached a dead end. At that moment, a woman living in the same apartment complex contacted Myri. She said that she was a neighbor, and also a friend of the mother of Myri's deceased best friend. It was then that Myri learned that her best friend's mother also lived in this apartment complex. Even more coincidentally, she lived in the very house that Myri had just bought, and also died from falling from the building right outside that house. Realizing all of this, Myri almost collapsed. At this time, in the bathroom where Tae-hun logged out, Kyung-ja's husband discovered a line. The real hunter is about to be revealed. It seemed that Myri's judgment was correct. The culprit in the serial ribbon killing case was indeed someone else. Afterwards, Myri went to visit her best friend and her best friend's mother. She believed that it was the soul of her friend's mother who had led her to move to that house, wanting her to help find the culprit. The friend of her best friend's mother, who was also the neighbor woman, provided Myri with a lot of clues. She took out a sewing box and said that it was something that a relative of her best friend's mother had thrown away. Inside the sewing box, Myri found a pair of yellow scissors, and her face immediately changed. Years ago, after the incident, her best friend's mother discovered that the pair of yellow scissors in her daughter's school bag had disappeared. She suspected that either her daughter or the culprit had used them and taken them away. She had asked Myri about this, hoping she could remember some clues, but unfortunately, Myri didn't see anything. In the pain of losing her daughter, she had said harsh words to Myri. But now, when reading the diary of her best friend's mother, Myri saw that she wrote that she wanted to send an apology to her. The mother knew that Myri that year was just a high school student like her daughter. She shouldn't have been so harsh with her. This diary was filled with her longing for her daughter, and the days of living worse than death after losing her daughter. However, later on, the content of the diary became brighter. It turned out that in the apartment complex, she had met many kind people, from the kind neighbor woman downstairs who accompanied her every day, to the beautiful and kind supermarket owner named Ji-hyun, to the old manager, Mr. Kim, who was always willing to help her whenever she had difficulties. These warm-hearted people had given her the strongest support. However, after that, the plot in the diary suddenly changed. She began to suspect someone, and even developed depression, and had to take medication every day. Because of this, Myri discovered that there was also a piece of paper in the sewing box, on which was written the address of her old apartment complex. To find out the truth, Myri went to a private investigator. The man told Myri that, back then, it was her best friend's mother who had asked him to find Myri's address. In addition, after reviewing the file, the detective discovered a strange thing. She had chosen to end her life just 1 month after investigating Myri's address. This was very confusing. Once she had found out Myri's address, she must have had something to say to her. So why did she choose to die in such a short period of 1 month? The detective also revealed that, in addition to investigating Myri's whereabouts, her best friend's mother had also asked him to investigate another person at that time. Myri pressed to know who that person was, but the detective said she hadn't paid enough money and refused to reveal anything more. With no other choice, Myri had to return to the apartment complex. She decided to start investigating from the neighbors. More than 10 years ago, by chance, Gwang Yu discovered a novel in his teacher's notebook. He realized that the plot in the story was extremely realistic, as if the actual perpetrator were present at the scene. In order to be able to write novels like his teacher, Gwang Yu moved to live in the apartment complex, where the victim's family lived, trying to find creative material from there. The longer they lived together, the closer Gwang Yu and Myri's best friend's mother became, like a mother and son. During that time, Gwang Yu felt the warmth of maternal love from the woman, and she also found the lost family feelings from Gwang Yu, even treating him like her own son. One day, the woman showed Gwang Yu the flower ring that her daughter had worn on the day she was murdered, along with the lost scissors. Gwang Yu was immediately astonished, because he had seen these details in Mr. Kim's novel. The ring, the scissors, these pieces of evidence had not appeared in the publicly released news reports at all. From that time on, Gwang Yu knew that the teacher he respected the most was the ribbon killer. After the woman fell from the building, Gwang Yu received the belongings she left behind. A savings book. It was the money she had saved for her daughter. Now all of it was left to Gwang Yu, with the hope that he would use this money to live a good life. From that day on, Gwang Yu was determined to avenge Mother, and began to hide in the apartment complex, waiting for the day to expose the true face of the old teacher. And now, knowing the true purpose of his student, old Kim no longer respected their old teacher-student relationship. He attacked Gwang Yu in an abandoned warehouse, plotting to kill everyone who knew his secret. Meanwhile, Myri had told her suspicions about old Kim to her sisters. So he also remembered that on the night that her best friend's mother fell from the building, Manager Kim was the first person to witness it. And before the woman fell, old Kim had ordered a lot of fried chicken delivered to the door. Thinking back now, so he guessed that old Kim wanted to use the act of receiving food to distract the other managers, while he secretly attacked and murdered the woman. After confirming their suspicions about old Kim, Myri went to find the other managers and learned that old Kim had resigned today, and Gwang Yu had also disappeared without a trace. Fortunately, So-hee discovered an important clue. A nurse at the hospital gave So-hee's child a doll, and there was a sound chip inside the doll's body. So-hee had also said before that her best friend's mother had asked her to buy her a tape recorder. From this point, So-hee had the idea that the mini tape recorder that her best friend's mother had bought might have been hidden inside a doll. Sure enough, after searching through the dolls that she had left behind, they found the tape recorder inside. When they turned on the recording, the final piece of the case was completed. One day, 1 year prior, because she was grateful to old Kim for helping fix the plumbing, the woman brought food to show her appreciation. But she accidentally discovered that old Kim had a pair of scissors in his room that were exactly the same. She also saw that old Kim had stolen all the letters sent to the families of the victims. The subsequent investigation further confirmed her judgment. On that day, her best friend's mother arranged to meet old Kim at his house. When he realized that he was suspected, old Kim no longer hid, even showing excitement when recalling the past of murdering her daughter. Her best friend's mother wanted to avenge her daughter, but she was no match for old Kim, and was brutally murdered by him. Afterwards, old Kim tore a page from her diary to make a last note, and then threw her body downstairs to create a fake scene. He even pretended to be righteous, and went to the scene to be the first witness. As soon as she finished listening to the recording, Myri received a call from old Kim, knowing that her daughter had been kidnapped, to save her. Myri went alone to an abandoned mental hospital at old Kim's request. This was the place where her best friend had met with disaster years ago. Here, old Kim demanded that Myri hand over the tape recorder. Myri complied, and old Kim immediately stomped on it, destroying it. Discovering that Myri was venturing into the tiger's den, the three sisters didn't say a word, and immediately went there together. They would not let Myri face the devil alone. Inside the building, Myri suddenly sprayed pepper spray into old Kim's face, trying to take advantage of this opportunity to search for her imprisoned daughter. However, old Kim was too strong. He quickly discovered Myri's hiding place. With a ferocious expression, he intended to silence her. Just then, the three sisters arrived in time. They desperately rushed into the abandoned operating room, where Myri's voice was coming from, and saw old Kim holding her hostage and threatening them. The sisters tried to persuade him, hoping that old Kim could confess. But old Kim was still stubborn, even threatening to kill everyone. Fortunately, the sisters were very clever. They took the opportunity to take out the prepared pepper spray and signaled with their eyes to Myri. When Myri dodged, Ji-hyun immediately sprayed it into old Kim's face. Hyung-ja then rushed up, using her old skills to fight to the death with him. So he took the opportunity to attack from behind. Finally, old Kim fell into a pool of blood. The sisters breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately went to find Myri's daughter in the building. Unexpectedly, old Kim, like an immortal demon, stood up again, lit a lighter, causing the flames to spread everywhere in an instant. In the light of the fire, the four Myri ran to the second floor. When they saw a room, Myri's heart suddenly became chaotic, because in the past, her best friend had been captured by old Kim in this room. Myri suspected that her daughter was also tied up here. However, the flames in the building had flared up violently. As they were trying to break down the door, old Kim kept approaching. Hyung-ja rushed in to wrestle with old Kim, trying to buy time for Myri to save her daughter. But the demon was too strong. Hyung-ja was no match. Just as the demon's iron hammer was about to fall, at the critical moment, Gwang-yu appeared. He rushed in from behind, hugging the demon tightly. A moment before, another manager had smelled a strange gas coming from the warehouse, so he checked and found him. Previously, Gwang-yu had secretly installed a tracking device under the devil's car. Taking advantage of Gwang-yu wrestling with him, Mi-ri and her sisters rushed into the room. But what they saw was just a mobile phone. It turned out that old Kim had pre-recorded the little girl's cries for help to deceive Mi-ri. Mi-ri screamed and questioned old Kim, but he became even more arrogant. He used one blow to defeat his former student, then intended to attack all those present. Hyung-ja, who was injured, was on the brink of life and death. Unexpectedly, at that moment, old Kim was shot and fell to the ground on the spot. It was Kyung-jae's police officer husband who arrived in time. When the police reinforcement force arrived, everyone at the scene was rescued. In the smoke, Myri found a basement and heard her daughter's voice from inside. At the critical moment, her husband ran over, used all his strength to break the lock, and together with his wife, rescued their daughter. The fire was gradually extinguished, and a life or death crisis had finally ended. Afterwards, Myri, her sisters, and Gwang-yu went together to visit the grave of her deceased best friend's mother. Now, she could rest in peace. Not long after, Gwang-yu wrote a detective novel with a beautiful ending. Myri's husband's coffee shop also became crowded with customers, thanks to this event. And Myri and her sisters formed the Women's Association Detective Agency. Relying on their special wisdom and courage, they solved countless cases and various crises for people. One day, Myri watched the news and saw that a middle-aged woman had died in the park due to a drug overdose. Myri vaguely felt that something was unusual in this incident. In a hidden corner, the therapist that Myri trusted was reviewing the photos he had secretly taken of the residents in the apartment complex, then took out a hidden phone to contact someone. The person on the other end of the line reported that they had completed the mission of killing the person. After confirming the news, the therapist took a bottle of medication that was carefully hidden in a drawer, then let out a sinister smile. Myri and her sisters were discussing the case in their detective agency Just then, a woman came to them. This woman was the one who had pointed a gun at her cheating husband in the supermarket before. Now, after being released from prison, she had dumped her terrible husband and intended to join the Women's Association Detective Agency. Meanwhile, Guang Yu, the student who worked part-time at the coffee shop, had become a valuable assistant to the female detectives. He, along with these brave women, began the journey of solving one extraordinary case after another. This is the end of the movie. Thank you for your attention. Don't forget to press like and subscribe to the channel to watch more great movies. Goodbye and see you again.